The crystalline chamber hummed with an eerie resonance as Lisa stood before the Council of Minds. Her black uniform bore the insignia of Earth's Stellar Command, but here, millions of light-years from home, that symbol meant nothing. Around her, 7 telepathic beings from the Varathi Collective floated in suspension fields, their translucent forms pulsing with bioluminescent patterns that served as their primary language. Commander Lisa Chen had volunteered for this. When the Varathi had demanded a human representative submit to a cognitive scan before allowing Earth into the Galactic Coalition, she'd stepped forward without hesitation. The other species had done it. The reptilian Kroth, the insectoid Zeph, even the gaseous Hellions, all had passed this test of transparency. "Your species fascinates us," Commander Chen, the lead Varathi who called himself Keeper Thal, communicated directly into her mind. His voice was like wind chimes made of ice. "You are new, violent. Your history is written in blood and ash, yet you seek to join the coalition of peaceful worlds." "We've changed," Lisa replied aloud, knowing they could hear her thoughts anyway. "We've grown beyond our violent past." "Words are wind, Commander. Thoughts are truth. You will permit Seer Alexthon to examine your consciousness. He will see what humanity truly is beneath your diplomatic pleasantries." From the shadows of the chamber, another Varathi emerged. Alexthon was different from the others, his form more solid, more defined with what might have been eyes, dark pools that seemed to absorb light itself. He was young for a Varathi, only 3 centuries old, but he was their most powerful telepath. Alexthon approached Lisa slowly, his presence already pressing against her mind like a gentle tide. "Do not resist, Commander Chen. I promise you no harm. I seek only truth." Lisa took a deep breath and nodded. She'd prepared for this. The psychological conditioning, the meditation training, the mental exercises. But nothing could truly prepare someone for having their innermost thoughts laid bare before an alien consciousness. Alexthon's presence touched the surface of her mind, and Lisa felt a cool sensation spreading through her thoughts like frost across glass. He was searching, sifting through memories with the delicacy of a surgeon. She felt him observe her childhood, playing in the ruins of old Earth cities, rebuilt after the Third World War. He saw her training at the academy, her first command, her losses. 14 crew members dead under her watch during a reactor malfunction on the Prometheus. The guilt she still carried. But then Alexthon went deeper. He reached the place where Lisa kept her understanding of humanity's true nature. Not the sanitized version they'd presented to the coalition. Not the hopeful narrative of a species reformed. But the raw, unfiltered truth of what humans were and what they were capable of. And suddenly, Alexthon stopped moving. His luminescent patterns flickered erratically. The other Varathi leaned forward, their silent communication creating waves of concern that even Lisa could sense. "Alexthon," Keeper Thal's mental voice carried alarm. "What do you see?" But the young telepath didn't respond. His form had gone rigid, his dark eyes locked on Lisa's face with something that looked like terror. Lisa felt it then, the reversal. Instead of Alexthon pulling information from her mind, her memories were somehow flooding into him, overwhelming his consciousness with the sheer weight of human experience. He saw it all. He saw the trenches of Earth's ancient wars, where humans had fought in mud and blood for years over mere miles of territory. He saw the atomic fire that had consumed entire cities in microseconds, and the humans who had chosen to unleash it. He witnessed the Holocaust, the genocides, the Crusades, the Inquisitions, humanity's endless capacity for organized cruelty. But that wasn't what froze him. He saw what came after. He saw humans pull themselves from the radioactive ashes of nuclear war and build again. He witnessed the survivors of unimaginable atrocities choose forgiveness over vengeance. He observed humans who had lost everything, family, home, hope, still find reasons to laugh, to love, to create art and music in the midst of devastation. Alexthun experienced the contradiction at the heart of humanity. They were capable of the darkest evil and the brightest good, often in the same breath, sometimes in the same person. He saw Lisa's own memories in new context. The reactor malfunction that killed her crew, she had stayed behind to manually seal the breach, absorbing a lethal dose of radiation. Only experimental treatment had saved her life. She had chosen to die for her people. But deeper still, Alexthun found something he hadn't expected. He discovered that humans were aware of their own darkness. They taught it to their children. They built memorials to their victims. They wrote books and made films about their worst moments, forcing each generation to confront the capacity for evil within themselves. And they did this deliberately, as a vaccine against repeating their mistakes. How? Alexthun's voice finally emerged, shaking and small. How do you survive being human? The other Varathi erupted in confused mental chatter. Keeper Thal projected concern and confusion. Alexthun, report, what have you found? The young telepath's form was trembling now, his bioluminescence stuttering like a failing light. They are monsters and saints simultaneously, every single one of them. The violence in their past isn't an aberration, it's their baseline. But so is the compassion, so is the sacrifice. They are walking contradictions, and they know it, and they choose every day, every moment, which part of themselves to feed. He turned to the council, his mental voice stronger now but filled with something like awe. The other species you've tested, the Kroth, the Zeph, the Hellions, they are what they are. They evolved into peaceful societies naturally. It's in their nature. But humans have to fight their nature. Every act of kindness is a small war won against their instinct for survival at any cost. Lisa felt tears on her cheeks. She hadn't expected anyone to understand, to truly see what it meant to be human and not condemn them for it. When Commander Chen stood before us, Alexthun continued, I saw her preparing to hide her species' darkest truths, but beneath that I found something else. She was also prepared to accept rejection, to walk away if we judged humanity unworthy, because she truly believes, that you would be right to fear her species. The chamber fell silent. Even the ambient hum seemed to diminish. Keeper Thal descended from his position, approaching Lisa directly for the first time. Commander Chen, Alexthun has shown us what he found. We must deliberate. The Varathi gathered in a tight formation, their bioluminescent patterns synchronizing as they engaged in rapid telepathic communion. Lisa stood alone in the center of the chamber, exhausted from the mental intrusion and uncertain of humanity's fate. Finally, they separated. Commander Chen, Keeper Thal began, we have seen species rise and fall across millennia. We have witnessed civilizations that began in peace and ended in war. We have seen others that started in war and learned peace, but never have we encountered a species that exists in both states simultaneously, at every level, in every individual. Lisa's heart sank. This was rejection. How could it be anything else? This terrifies us, Keeper Thal continued, but it also humbles us. We believed peace was a destination, a state achieved and maintained, but you have shown us that for some species peace is not a destination. It is a journey that never ends, a choice remade with every sunrise. He paused, his patterns shifting to something Lisa had learned meant deep respect. Humanity is approved for coalition membership, not despite your nature, but because you understand it, because you fight it, because every human act of kindness is a victory against entropy itself. You will bring something to the coalition we didn't know we needed, the understanding that peace is not the absence of capacity for violence, but the choice to restrain it. Lisa's legs nearly gave out. Thank you, Keeper Thal. Alexthun approached her one final time. Commander Chen, I apologize for my reaction, what I saw in your mind. It will take me time to process, but I want you to know something. What's that? Lisa asked. In all my centuries, I have touched thousands of minds. I have seen thoughts beautiful and terrible, but I have never seen a species that looks into the abyss of their own nature and chooses, deliberately and repeatedly, to be better than they are. Humanity may be dangerous, Commander, but you are also the most courageous beings I have ever encountered. As Lisa left the chamber, she carried with her a new understanding. Humanity would always be dangerous. They would always carry the capacity for darkness within them, but perhaps that was their strength. Perhaps the species that had to earn their goodness, that had to fight for every moment of peace, were the ones who would guard it most fiercely. In the end, the alien mind reader had looked into the commander's thoughts and frozen not from horror, but from recognition, the recognition that humanity's greatest weakness was also their greatest strength. They knew what they were, and they chose to be better anyway. And that choice, made billions of times by billions of humans across the stars, was the most alien and most admirable thing the Varathi had ever witnessed.